We are continuing the work on the EG33 today, and that's going to include some accessories that we're getting on the motor, oil pump, water pump, billet half moons, replacing all of the exhaust studs, whatever else we can get knocked out today. I need to run down to Subaru at some point today because after looking at what I have on the bench over there for this engine, I'm definitely missing some bolts, and I'm pretty sure these are like readily in stock bolts that Subaru has, but let's jump into this stuff because your boy's super excited. So what's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So I don't know why when I was ordering all of this stuff, I didn't think about like bolt quantities all that well. Maybe I did and I just misplaced them. I don't know. They could be, I don't know where they'd be. So we have a brand new OEM Subaru water pump right here. We've got a Roger Clark Motorsports modified 12mm oil pump we're gonna be getting on the car. Brand new exhaust studs, brand new half moons for the heads, water pump gasket, new hardware for this, but I'm missing some of them. So when I originally planned on doing this, I was gonna retrofit and shim the OEM EG pump, but decided to go with this Roger Motorsports pump, which is nice because it actually comes with all the seals and the hardware and everything you need, a serialized oil pump and all the good stuff right there. So I think the first thing we're gonna do is get this oil pump on the car. So I'm gonna make a little bit of room here on the bench right here. We're gonna clean off the mating surface on the back side of that, get some gasket maker on it and stick it up to the engine over here. So our oil pump's literally just gonna go in that dowel right there, the upper dowel right there, slide in place. We're gonna get the O-ring right there. We're gonna get the O-ring on the oil pump. We're gonna get the O-rings everywhere where the O-rings gotta go. Then we'll get the front main seal on. We'll do all the fun stuff. So let's clean off this mating surface where we need to get the RTV on there. We'll do the same thing on the oil pump. We'll get it stuck up on here, jump over to the water pump. We'll let that cure for a little bit, flip the motor around, and then start replacing all of these old exhaust studs on the bottom of the heads. I guess it would be good to show before I put the oil pump on. The little seal, like I said, there's only one spot for the little seal to go right there. So let's get this mating surface cleaned off with some brake clean just to make sure there's no like oil or anything on there. And then let's get this oil pump on here just to make sure there's no like oil or anything like that on here, because we don't want that. We want everything to be super smooth and super clean. So with oil pump in hand, and then tap her on because there's dowels. Now, once it's located in the dowels, let's start getting our hardware in. Dude, this oil pump looks so freaking good. I know I say that about everything, but like, to be honest, it does. It just looks so good. All right, before we, give me that. Jesus. Before we torque these down, I just want to get them in there. Now we can torque them down. Well, that's it. That's literally it. So let's get this seal in, and then we'll let the oil pump sit for probably about 15-20 minutes. Let that sealant get nice and tacky, cure up, and then I guess we're back to the waiting game. All right, you guys, so as you saw, just got the oil pump on here. Everything is torqued down to, I just did 5 foot-pounds. It's a little bit easier that way. Got our new oil seal set in place. Everything's sealed up nicely, nice and tight in there. The sealing surface is flush. This oil pump looks, I mean, it looks like a good oil pump. RCM is one of the better aftermarket oil pumps. Whenever it comes to getting an aftermarket oil pump, you got to be very cautious out there. There's a lot of iffy ones out there. Everything I came across on Roger Clark Motorsport was like grade A, top notch. So we'll let this sit for 20 minutes. We'll knock out the water pump. We'll flip it over, start doing exhaust studs. We got a lot of stuff to do, and we have FedEx dropping off a lot of OEM parts, which I hope. I ordered a thermostat because I actually don't remember if I did or didn't. So, I mean, we'll find out today. So I'm really glad that I kept all these. These are all EG33 bolts that I pulled off the engine back in August when we first disassembled it, and I just threw them all in this bin. Now, like I said, I am short on 2 water pump bolts, but I found 2 of them in there that have no rust on them. They look serviceable, so I'm going to run them. So we've got 4 brand new ones, 2 used ones. If I can mitigate how much more money I'm spending at Subaru, I would like to. So while the oil pump dries, we're just going to get this thing on. So like I said, brand new water pump gasket, 4 brand new bolts, 2 used ones, it's whatever, and then obviously the water pump. So let's go get this thing on there. These things are annoying to get on with these gaskets. The gasket just never, ever wants to stay on for me. So as minor as this stuff seems, you guys, this stuff, it excites me because it's the little things that go into building the motor that really get me excited. I'm a little bummed that they discontinued the seal that goes between the water pump and the oil pump, but it's fine. We'll live. It's nothing major. So like I said, I'm going to let this oil pump cure a little bit. We need to flip the engine upside down to like swap out all the exhaust studs next. But there is oil inside of this oil pump because it does come pre-charged with oil. Now, if I were to just flip it upside down, what could potentially happen is any oil that's in that oil pump could get up to that raw sealing surface that I just put in there that's not actually cured yet. And if that's the case, then it could potentially like start getting through that seal right up top between the oil pump and the engine right there. I just don't want that to happen. So I'm gonna let this sit for about 25 to 30 more minutes. We'll flip the engine upside down and then we will start getting to town on those exhaust studs. Next up, I have these half moons in the freezer right now, so that way they contract a little bit just to get them to go in there a little bit easier so we can get those in. So right now, just waiting for a little bit of sealant to cure. Once it cures, we'll keep going. Hopefully by that time, FedEx drops off our order too, because I have like every single timing component showing up today for this, and hopefully the thermostat for that. So I've been letting the seal cure up for probably about an hour now, and I think we're pretty good to flip the motor at this point, just so the seal won't be compromised. FedEx did drop off the order that I was waiting on, and I didn't order everything that I needed, and we ran into our first discontinued part that I need to try to find now, and I don't think it'll be a hard one to find. But it's annoying nonetheless. So technically I ran into two parts that are discontinued that I need. I need the crank bolt right there, and then I also need all of these smaller O-rings that go up top for the coolant passage. I have both of the bigger ones, but all of the smaller ones are discontinued and they don't sell them anymore. So what I'm thinking is just running to the hardware store, finding one that is the same diameter. They also discontinued all the bolts for that, so I need to dig through that bolt bin, get them cleaned up. I might just sandblast them and powder coat the heads of them just so that way they have a protective coating on them, but I don't know. I'm not crazy worried about it right this second. Let's get these exhaust studs pulled off and let's get the new ones threaded on. So I got all of the new exhaust studs on there. I got the flange for the exhaust manifolds temporarily put on here now just so they're off the shelf so I can make more room for stuff. I want to get the motor mounts on, but I am short 4 of these motor mount bolts. I have 2 of them just laying around the garage, but I need 4 more of them. So I'm going to call down to Subaru, see if they have any. If they do, we're going to swing down there, go grab those just so that way I can get these bolted on there. Now for some of you guys were asking what motor mounts I'm running. These are Kian engine swap mounts. So these are made for EJ to EG33. So all you need is the EG actual like mounting plate to the motor and then these swapped motor mounts. So I think I paid like $150 for these on eBay. Some dude in Russia makes them from my understanding, but I mean craftsmanship and quality on them seem pretty good. There's rubber bushing in there. Everything's welded nicely. Everything's powder coated nicely. So let me call Subaru. Hopefully they have 4 of those engine mount bolts in stock. And then I also, like I said, I want to get the valve cover on today. These are all the valve cover bolts in here just soaking a brake clean right now, just to try to get as much schmoo off of them as possible, just so that way they're not covered in grease, oil, dirt, grime, rust, anything like that. I need to do the same thing with these. These are all of the little grommets that they slide through for the valve cover. So swing down to Subaru. Change of plans. Subaru doesn't have any of the engine mounting bolts in stock, which is weird because I feel like that's a really common part to just not stock. I already ordered some online. I was just trying to speed it up and go pick them up today so that way we get the engine mounts on. No worries, I'm not gonna stress about it. So now we're gonna do something that stresses me out a little bit, is we're gonna permanently get the cams installed. Now I have the SVX procedure and service manual pulled up on my computer with all the figures, all the torque specs, and literally a step-by-step walkthrough on how to do this. So I'm fair warning right now, this first set of me getting these cams permanently installed might take me a little while. I'll try to edit it the best I can so that way you guys aren't watching me like struggle going through this, because I'm more than likely going to struggle going through this. It's normal. So let's figure out how to install these cams properly and just get them permanently bolted on so we can get these valve covers on. Let's start off by removing the cams. So I've got this little makeshift workstation right now. I've got like my cardboard for all like the engine components, and over here I got a towel for like tools, assembly lube, my drink because we can't do this without a rain. We all know this. And then right here I have the service manual. So like I said, I'll link this down below, but it's literally a step-by-step guide on how to do all of this. So let me get to the spot. We're right here, install left camshaft. So let's just start installing this stuff and I'll walk you guys through it as I go through it. Like I said, I've never done this before, so I'm not quite sure how to actually do this. So step one, before I even go to install anything, I'm gonna wipe off our mating. Actually, I don't need to wipe off the mating surface quite yet. I am gonna get a little bit of assembly lube on all of the buckets right here, just so we're not going in dry. The engine builder did put assembly lube everywhere else. I can see it, so I'm not gonna worry about that too much, but I do wanna get a little bit on these buckets. It is nice that I don't have to mess with valve lash on this one like we did on the 05. That was not enjoyable. So to install exhaust camshaft, apply engine oil to lash adjusters, install lash adjusters, apply engine oil to camshaft journals, place exhaust cam on cylinder head with notch on front end facing downward. So our exhaust cam, apparently there is a notch on this. Okay, I found the notch. So on the back side of the cam, there is a small notch right there. I'm gonna go ahead and get this cleaned off, and then we're gonna get the exhaust cam in, and then we'll start getting the intake cam in. So we've got our exhaust cam all lubed up. Notch faces downward. Downward. Okay, if I face notch downward though, then it's gonna force these two valves to open. Do we want those two valves to open? Are they gonna hit anything if we open them? I don't have the cam sprocket, so I don't know where it's going to sit. Is that the notch? Is that the only notch that it's talking about? Is there another like secret notch? Okay, now it's important to note, I just had a moment here. When it was talking about the, I'm gonna hand tighten all these first. When it was talking about the notches, it was talking about the notches on the very end of the cam gear. Not on the actual cam gear, but on the actual end of the snout of the cam gear. So I was having a moment. It's all right, it happens. I just went through, I cleaned the exhaust cam. I have sealant on there to seal everything up. Now we're gonna go through and torque it. So I'm torquing everything to 44 inch-pounds. It said anywhere between 39 and 48, so I feel like 44 is a good spot. So now there's a torque sequence. So we're going to start with this top middle one right here. Torque it down, right there. Right below it, this guy. And then we go up here to this front top one. And then right below it. Then we come over here to the top. Torque that guy down. So our exhaust cam is installed. Now we installed the intake one the exact same way we installed the exhaust one. So let me clean off this surface so that way we can get this nice and sealed up and actually get this cam. I'm gonna clean the cam too and lubricate that. Guys, so I have this side completely assembled, not coming back out. So when I was confused earlier about the whole notches thing, I thought it was talking about these notches right here on the cam gears. Technically those face up. It was referring to these notches right here facing down. So if we're working on the motor right here, down would be obviously, down would obviously be the bottom of the motor right there. And then here's our timing marks on the cam gears. So you have those two dots on the exhaust side and that one dot on the intake side. The one dot on the intake side needs to go between the two dots on the exhaust side. Aside from that, you torque all this down. I put a little bit of sealant in there just for extra security so we don't have any leaks. Got the cam cap on the front torque down. I have this seal that we're going to put in also, but I want to let this cure a little bit so that way it's not trying to like stretch the seal out any more than it needs to. And then back here, I did get the IAG billet half moons in. So if you're curious, these are for an EJ25. They do fit on the EG33. I did confirm that. These are the OEM stock ones that originally came in there. They're the exact same size on both of them. So not too bad to do. The valve cover's ready to go back on this side, so I'm about to get that guy on. I've got new gaskets for this. I've got this long gasket right here, this guy, and then the one that goes all the way around this cam cover. And then I'm just gonna reuse these old OEM bolts. No big deal, no one's ever gonna see them. I would ideally like to get new ones, but one of these bolts is stupid expensive, so I ended up canceling my order, and then they had discontinued some of them. And then I've got the little grommets and seals in this brake clean just kind of cleaning themselves right now. So let's get this valve cover on, let's get this side sealed up, and then let's flip it over. Ooh, one more very important thing. Don't forget to take the service screw out right there if you're doing this. Make sure you take the service screw out before you put this cam cover on, or else there's no way you're getting that screw out. So let's get this thing sealed up, do the other side. Yo, this thing is just getting better and better every day I work on this thing. So this side is all sealed up at this point. Valve cover's on. I'm going to put the little oil guy on here soon. I have that in one of the totes back there. I'll go find that after we get the other side sealed up. But honestly, not bad. Just take your time. Like I said, I will link below the service manual, so that way if any of you guys are doing this same or similar build, or someone wants to build an EG33, you guys have all this documentation readily available for you guys. Just follow the step-by-step procedure. Couple big things. Make sure that the timing marks are lined up inside of the motor. Make sure that the service screw is removed. Make sure you put a tiny little bit of sealant on the cam caps. Make sure everything's torqued down properly. And I mean, you're not going to have any issues at all. So now that this side's done, let's knock out this side, because I don't want to have to keep putting a plastic bag over this thing if I can avoid it. I'd rather just make it look absolutely pretty. So let's get this side done now. So as you guys may have seen, I had to go through here, loosen all of the head bolts. The one up here, the clearance on it was just, it was not good. It was hitting the cam gear up here on the intake cam. So obviously had to pull them all off, grind that head stud down a little bit more. I'm not the happiest with it because it's like cutting it close for clearance right there, but I really don't have a choice. I can't put a ball bearing in there, else it's gonna push it too high. I can't grind down the head stud anymore, or else it's gonna sit way too low at that point. So this is what we're working with. It'll work for what we're doing. If this is something for, if anybody out there in the likes of me is doing the same build, just keep that in mind. Your cam gear clearance to your head stud, you don't want to be smacking your head stud down there with your cam. So now that we have that corrected and everything is clearing, one more thing, since I am installing this side, same as the other side, with the exception that the notches on the cam gears are going to be facing up instead of down. That's really the only difference here. So, and there's a different torque sequence for the cam caps. Aside from that, everything else is solid. Yo, every day we're getting closer and closer and closer to getting this thing running. So we have a fully assembled long block at this point, and your boy's ecstatic. I'm really glad that we got that one head stud issue taken care of. As you guys just saw, I got both heads sealed up on the motor, and valve covers on, everything torqued down, good to go. But let me show you guys this. Look at that. We've got cam gear on, timing covers on, and of course I just mocked everything else back up on the motor. We have our oil fill on. I'm gonna get a different oil cap ordered for this because that one is absolutely atrocious. But you guys, it's coming together. So I test fitted up all the accessory stuff. It seems like what we're gonna have to do here is use the EG33's alternator bracket with the EJ257's power steering pump, or my bad, EG33's power steering pump bracket with the EJ257 power steering pump. I have the IAG alternator relocation kit, which can move the alternator right about there. With this RCM oil pump, it's really nice because now we can run a timing belt guide on here, and it's still going to read our crank position sensor right down there, which is absolutely perfect for what we're doing. That timing cover over here has to come back off, so that way I can get the timing guides on here. Once the bolts come in, I have the guide itself, I have all of the timing components. The only things that we are waiting on for timing on this is the sprocket for the crank. I need a crank bolt. I need a bolt for the crank also because I don't have one. I don't know where mine went. Yeah, and then we just need bolts for up there and whatnot. Then we can get this motor in time. So it's a lot easier than an EJ to get it in time. Right there's a small little dash on the cam gear, and then right up there on the cam gear, or the timing cover, there's a dash. Same thing with over here. We've got one dash right there, and then the marks for it are right there. So this should be a relatively easy motor to get in time, but in the next video, we're probably going to get it in time and get it going. And we can get the motor mounts on, get it test fitted in the car, just to see what we're working with clearance wise. But I am so pumped to have these valve covers back on. Jesus, I can't talk right now. And they look so good. It's functional. Everything's sealed up. I don't have to keep putting a bag on this thing now. So you guys, I'm so happy with the way this thing's coming out. Honestly, you guys, not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be to build that thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. Everything with this motor is definitely new to me. It's similar to an EJ, but not the same. But we're getting there. We're one step closer to making oodles and oodles of horsepower with this thing. So hopefully within the next month, we can get it off to the fabricator on payday, which is around the 20th for me. We can get the turbo ordered that way, and the throttle body, so that way we have everything needed for fabrication. And I don't think I mentioned this in the video at all, but I did sell the white works that are on the STi, and I did get the new wheels ordered because obviously the car needs to be able to roll onto a tow truck to get down to the fabricator. So new wheels are some big Johnnies. They are some big old Johnnies. I'm excited. They're wheels that I've wanted for a really long time, and selling the works was able to fund the purchase of these new wheels, which get dropped off Friday, so you guys will see them soon. But anyways, that's all I got for you guys on this one. If you like the video, you know what to do. Go ahead, hit that like button, turn it black, blue, green, yellow, purple, silver, cyan, magenta, chartreuse, and the color of the day today is cherry blossom in commemorates of the STi. Why not? And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, hit your boy up one of these corners. No idea which one I'll put it in quite yet, because this is uncharted territory for me, and I'm sure it is for a lot of other people also, so you don't want to miss anything going on with this build. But with that, you guys, I will catch you in the next one. Peace out, homies.